First contact. The observation deck of the UES Pathfinder offered Captain Elena Reyes the best view of the approaching anomaly. For 3 days, they had tracked the disturbance moving through the outer reaches of the solar system, its signature unlike anything in humanity's extensive catalogs. Elena's dark eyes remained fixed on the stars, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays that surrounded her command station. "Distance to anomaly?" she asked, her voice cutting through the tense silence of the bridge. Lieutenant Devi Sharma, the ship's sensor officer, responded immediately. "Approximately 3.2 million kilometers in closing, Captain. Speed consistent with controlled deceleration. They'll reach Neptune's orbit in approximately 6 hours." Elena nodded, processing the information. The Pathfinder, Earth's most advanced long-range exploration vessel, had been deployed to investigate the anomaly 3 days ago, when the Saturn observation post had first detected it. What had initially appeared as a gravitational distortion was now resolving into something far more significant. "Show me the latest scan," she ordered. The holographic display at the center of the bridge shimmered and expanded, revealing a 3-dimensional representation of what they were now certain was a fleet of vessels. The leading ship dwarfed the Pathfinder by at least a factor of 5, its design unlike anything humanity had constructed, all sweeping curves and seemingly impossible geometries, surrounded by smaller craft that moved with perfect coordination. "First contact," whispered Commander Alejandro Torres, her executive officer. After all these centuries, Elena felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Humanity had expanded throughout the solar system over the past century, establishing colonies on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, and research outposts on the moons of the gas giants. But in all that time, they had encountered no evidence of intelligent extraterrestrial life. Until now. "All departments, status report," Elena commanded, her calm tone masking the adrenaline coursing through her veins. One by one, her officers responded, weapon systems primed but inactive, engines at optimal efficiency, communications array ready, defensive shields at full capacity. The Pathfinder was as prepared as it could be for an encounter that humanity had theorized about for centuries, but never experienced. "Open all frequencies, standard first contact protocols," Elena ordered. "Let's show them we come in peace." The communications officer, Lieutenant Okoro, activated the carefully designed first contact message that had been created decades earlier by Earth's finest linguists, mathematicians, and xenobiologists. It contained simple mathematical sequences, basic atomic structures, and carefully selected visual and audio elements designed to communicate peaceful intentions to any intelligent species. For 30 tense minutes, they'd broadcast the message on repeat, varying frequencies and encoding methods. The alien fleet continued its approach, showing no sign of having received or understood their transmission. "Captain," Sharma called out, her voice tight with concern, "I'm detecting energy buildups in multiple locations across the leap vessel. Pattern consistent with weapons charging." Elena's heart sank. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. Raise shields. Continue broadcasting peace messages, but prepare defensive countermeasures. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, the product of years of drills for a scenario they had hoped would never come. The Pathfinder might be Earth's most advanced ship, but it was designed primarily for exploration, not combat. "Energy spike," Sharma shouted. "There." The warning came too late. A beam of coherent energy lanced out from the alien vessel, striking a small automated research platform in Neptune's orbit. The installation, responsible for monitoring the gas giant's atmospheric conditions, vanished in a flash of superheated plasma. Alarms blared across the Pathfinder's bridge. Elena's training took over instantly. Red alert. Battle stations. Cease peace broadcasts and notify Earth Command immediately. The alien fleet accelerated, spreading into what was unmistakably an attack formation. The smaller vessels moved with frightening coordination, like extensions of a single mind rather than individual ships. Return fire, Elena ordered. Target the smaller vessels with rail guns only. Let's see if kinetic weapons are effective. The Pathfinder's defensive systems roared to life, launching hypersonic tungsten projectiles toward the approaching enemy. Several of the smaller alien vessels erupted in silent explosions as the projectiles found their marks, but for each one destroyed, 3 more took its place. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen, reported Lieutenant Commander Viktor Petrov from the tactical station. Some kind of directed plasma energy. Our shields are holding for now, but they're already down to 83% capacity. Elena studied the tactical display. The Pathfinder was badly outgunned and outnumbered. Their only advantage might be surprise. The aliens clearly hadn't expected resistance, or at least not effective resistance. Continue evasive maneuvers, she ordered. And get me a direct channel to Admiral Zhao at Earth Defense Command. The solar system needs to prepare for war. While the communications officer worked to establish a secure quantum link to Earth, Elena considered their options. The Pathfinder couldn't outrun the alien fleet. Their propulsion technology was clearly superior. Fighting head-on would be suicide. They needed a strategic advantage. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual about their attack patterns, called out Lieutenant Commander Aisha Okoro from the science station. The smaller vessels never operate independently. When one is destroyed, those nearby momentarily lose coordination before adapting. Elena moved to the science station, studying the sensor data. A networked intelligence. Some kind of hive mind. Possibly, Okoro replied. But more importantly, I'm noticing energy fluctuations whenever they fire their main weapons. Their systems appear heavily shielded against radiation and electromagnetic interference, but our kinetic weapons are still effective. A plan began forming in Elena's mind. Chief Engineer Takashi, what's the status of the experimental E-impulse generator we were transporting to Titan Station? Engineer Takashi's voice came through the intercom. Fully operational but untested outside of laboratory conditions, Captain. It was designed to clear orbital debris fields, not as a weapon. Could it be modified to match the frequency patterns of the alien vessel's energy weapons? Create some kind of feedback disruption? There was a moment of silence as Takashi considered. Theoretically, yes, but we'd need to get close enough to analyze their emissions directly, and the pulse would be directional. We'd have to hit them at nearly point-blank range. Then that's what we'll do, Elena decided. Tactical, prepare all remaining conventional weapons for a coordinated barrage. Engineering, I need that pulse generator reconfigured within the hour. Communications, status of the Earthlink. Quantum communication established, Captain, Okoro reported. Admiral Zhao is standing by. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Admiral Lin Zhao, commander of Earth's unified space forces. Her expression darkened as Elena briefed her on the situation. You're certain they fired first? Zhao asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Without provocation or warning, Elena confirmed. The Neptune research platform was destroyed with all hands. Their intentions are clear. Zhao nodded grimly. Defense fleets are being mobilized at Mars and Earth, but it will take time. The Jupiter Defense Group is the closest reinforcement, but they're still 18 hours away at maximum burn. You need to slow the alien advance, Captain. Buy us time to prepare. Elena understood the unspoken order. The Pathfinder was expendable. Earth and its colonies were not. Understood, Admiral. We'll hold them as long as we can. Pathfinder out. As the communication ended, Elena turned to her crew. I won't lie to you. What I'm proposing is essentially a suicide mission. We're going to charge directly at their command vessel and detonate the modified E-impulse at point-blank range. With luck, it will disrupt their network coordination long enough for us to inflict significant damage before they recover. She paused, looking at each officer in turn. This is beyond what any of you signed up for. I'm calling for volunteers only for the final approach. The rest of the crew will evacuate in the emergency pods and head for Triton Base. A moment of silence fell over the bridge, broken when Commander Torres stood. "I'm with you, Captain." "As am I," said Lieutenant Sharma without hesitation. One by one, each bridge officer affirmed their commitment to the mission. Alina felt a surge of pride that threatened to overwhelm her composure. This was humanity at its finest, facing extinction. They chose to stand and fight, not for glory, but for those who couldn't fight for themselves. "Evacuation of non-essential personnel will commence immediately," Alina ordered. "Engineering, status of the pulse generator modifications." "Progressing rapidly, Captain," Takashi reported. "We're reconfiguring the ship's main power core to channel everything into a single massive electromagnetic pulse calibrated to the alien fleet's communication frequency. But we'll have one shot before they adapt." Over the next hour, as the battle raged around them, and Neptune's defensive platforms fell one by one, the crew of the Pathfinder worked feverishly to implement Alina's desperate gambit. Meanwhile, escape pods launched from the lower decks, carrying the majority of the crew toward the relative safety of Triton, Neptune's largest moon. "All non-volunteer personnel evacuated," Torres reported. "Engineering reports the pulse generator is ready, but untested. Weapons are standing by." Alina took a deep breath, committing fully to the course ahead. "Plot an intercept course with the alien command vessel. Prepare to divert all power to engines and the pulse generator on my mark." The Pathfinder turned toward the heart of the alien fleet, its engines flaring as it accelerated directly toward the massive command ship. Enemy vessels scrambled to intercept, but the human ship had already built too much momentum. "Shields failing," Sharma shouted as energy beams lashed the hull. "Structural integrity compromised on decks 3 through 5. "Hold course," Alina ordered, gripping her chair as the ship shuddered violently around her. "Distance to target 1,500 kilometers and closing," Torres reported. "We'll be in optimal range in 20 seconds." The alien command ship loomed ever larger on the view screen, its massive weapons turning to focus on the approaching human vessel. The Pathfinder rocked under a direct hit, and emergency lighting bathed the bridge in crimson. "Engineering to bridge," Takashi's voice came through with static interference. "The pulse generator is charged, but the targeting systems are damaged. We'll need to get closer, much closer." Alina made her decision instantly. "Divert all remaining power to engines and the pulse generator. We're going to ram them." The Pathfinder, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, accelerated on a collision course with the heart of the alien command ship. Across the bridge, the crew worked with grim determination, knowing these might be their final moments. "Impact in 10 seconds. Torres counted down. 9, 8. Alina closed her eyes briefly. "For Earth," she whispered. 3, 2, 1. But the expected collision never came. Instead, at the last possible moment, Alina shouted, "All stop. Fire the pulse." The Pathfinder's engines cut out abruptly, inertia carrying the vessel to within mere kilometers of the alien command ship's hull. Then, with a power drain that plunged the entire ship into darkness for 3 critical seconds, the electromagnetic pulse generator fired. There was no visible beam, no dramatic explosion, just a wave of concentrated electromagnetic energy, precisely calibrated to the alien fleet's communication frequency. It washed over the command ship like an invisible tide. For one breathless moment, nothing happened. Then chaos erupted among the alien vessels. The smaller craft, previously moving with perfect coordination, began to drift aimlessly or collide with one another. The command ship's weapon systems flickered and died. "It worked," Takashi exclaimed, his voice thick with disbelief. "Their command network is down." Alina didn't waste a second. "All power to weapons. Target their propulsion systems and fire everything we have." The Pathfinder's remaining rail guns and missile batteries unleashed hell upon the suddenly vulnerable alien command ship. Without its defensive coordination, the massive vessel's shields failed under the barrage. Explosions blossomed across its hull as critical systems were breached. The smaller vessels are regaining some function, Torres reported tensely. They're attempting to reorganize. Elena had expected this. The pulse would only buy them minutes at most. Focus all fire on the command ship's central section. If we can cripple them before they recover, we might stand a chance. The Pathfinder, despite its damaged state, continued its relentless assault. Tungsten slugs tore through alien armor plating at relativistic speeds. Conventional warheads found their marks with deadly precision. The bridge crew worked frantically, redirecting fire as targets presented themselves. "Captain," Sharma called out suddenly, "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the command ship. It's either preparing a counterattack or—" The alien vessel's hull began to fracture, brilliant energy spilling from the wounds the Pathfinder had inflicted. The command ship was coming apart, its power core destabilizing. "Brace for impact," Elena shouted. "Full power to forward shields." The command ship detonated in a blinding flash that momentarily outshone Neptune's reflective clouds. The shockwave slammed into the Pathfinder, sending it tumbling through space. Systems failed across the ship as the EMP from the alien vessel's destruction washed over them. When the emergency systems finally came back online minutes later, Elena pulled herself from the floor, bleeding from a gash on her forehead. Around her, the bridge was in ruins, but her crew was picking themselves up, battered but alive. "Status report," she managed, her voice hoarse. "We're alive," Torres replied, surveying the damage. "Somehow. Main power is offline, life support is on emergency backups, and we're venting atmosphere on 2 decks. But the alien fleet—" Elena limped to the sensor station. The display was cracked but functional, showing the aftermath of their desperate attack. The alien command ship was gone, replaced by an expanding cloud of debris. The smaller vessels, robbed of their coordinating intelligence, were scattering in disarray, some damaged, others retreating. "We did it," Sharma whispered. "We actually did it." Elena knew it wasn't over. The remaining alien ships would eventually regroup, but they had bought Earth precious time to prepare, to mobilize. And they had proven something vital. Humanity could fight back. These invaders, whoever they were, had made a critical mistake. They had underestimated humanity. As the Pathfinder drifted in the shadow of Neptune, its emergency beacons calling for rescue, Elena Reyes looked out at the stars and allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. First contact had gone horribly wrong for the alien armada, and this was just the beginning. The counterattack. 2 weeks after the Pathfinder's desperate stand at Neptune, Dr. Wei Chen stood in the observation dome of Mars Defense Station Olympus, watching transport ships arrive in an endless stream. The red planet had transformed into humanity's forward operating base, the staging ground for what might be civilization's last stand. "Impressive, isn't it?" Admiral Lin Zhao said, joining him at the window. 6 days ago, these ships were civilian freighters and luxury liners. Now they're troop carriers and makeshift warships. We nodded, his eyes tracking the modified vessels as they docked. Humanity adapts quickly when survival is at stake. But will it be enough? The Admiral's face remained impassive, but Wei had known her long enough to recognize the concern in her eyes. The scouts report the alien fleet has regrouped. They're approaching the asteroid belt with approximately 80% of their original strength. Our models predict they'll reach Mars orbit in 72 hours. And the Pathfinder survivors, Captain Reyes and her remaining crew arrived at Earth yesterday. They'd been debriefed extensively. Zhao handed him a data tablet. "Your theory was correct. The EM pulse worked because the aliens use a form of quantum entanglement for fleet coordination, a hive mind, essentially. When the pulse disrupted it, they lost their greatest advantage." Wei studied the data, his mind already racing with possibilities. As Earth's leading genotechnologist, he had been brought to Mars to lead the development of weapons that might give humanity a fighting chance. For the past 2 weeks, his team had worked nonstop, analyzing the scant data from the Neptune encounter and developing countermeasures. "The prototype is ready," he said finally, "but untested outside simulation." Zhao raised an eyebrow. "The disruptor?" We nodded. A scaled-up version of the Pathfinder's improvised weapon. Instead of a single pulse, it generates a continuously modulating field that should prevent their fleet communication from reestablishing. But there's a catch. We need to deploy multiple emitters in a specific configuration around their fleet. Once activated, the overlapping fields will create a disruption bubble. "How many emitters?" 12, Wei replied. "Each must be precisely positioned and activated simultaneously." The Admiral frowned. "That means 12 ships on a suicide mission." "Not necessarily." Wei pulled up a new schematic on the tablet. "We've designed stealth deployment pods that can be dropped from fast attack vessels. Once in position, they'll activate remotely. The ships might have a chance to withdraw before the aliens detect them." "Might," Zhao repeated skeptically. "Those are long odds, Doctor." "Better than facing their full, coordinated might," Wei countered. "You've seen the projections. Even with every ship we can field, we're outgunned. This levels the playing field." Before Zhao could respond, an aide rushed into the observation dome, saluting quickly. "Admiral, urgent communication from Captain Reyes. She's requesting immediate transfer to Mars." Zhao's eyebrows rose slightly, the only indication of her surprise. "Granted. Have her shuttled up as soon as she arrives." She turned back to Wei. "It seems your test pilot is volunteering herself." 12 hours later, Captain Alina Reyes stood in the war room of Olympus Station, her face still bearing the healing scars from the Neptune battle. Around the holographic display table stood Admiral Zhao, Dr. Wei, and the captains of the 12 ships selected for what was being called Operation Blackout. "The alien psychology remains unknown," Elena was saying, tracing the projected path of the enemy fleet through the asteroid belt. "But their tactics suggest a collective consciousness with hierarchical elements. When we destroyed their command ship at Neptune, the smaller vessels didn't just lose coordination, they lost purpose. Like cutting off the head of a snake," said Captain Makina Okafor of the UES Dauntless. "More like severing a critical node in a neural network," Wei corrected. "The command ship was likely housing the primary coordination intelligence. The surviving ships eventually established a new command structure, but at reduced capacity." Elena nodded. "Exactly. And that's our opportunity. Their new command structure appears more distributed. They're not risking another single point of failure, but this makes their network more vulnerable to widespread disruption." She manipulated the holographic display, highlighting 12 positions around the projected alien formation. "These are your deployment points. Each ship will drop its disruptor pod at these coordinates, then withdraw at maximum velocity. When all pods are in position, they'll activate simultaneously. And if the aliens detect the pods before activation, ask Captain Julian Kim of the UES Peregrine. Then we fight conventionally," Admiral Zhao said grimly, "but with significantly worse odds." Elena studied the faces around the table. These were Earth's finest, career military officers alongside hastily commissioned civilian captains, all prepared to risk everything. "Any more questions?" When none came, Zhou stepped forward. "Operation Blackout commences in 24 hours. Your ships are being fitted with the disruptor pods as we speak. Engineers will brief your crews on deployment procedures." She paused, looking each captain in the eye. "I won't pretend this isn't dangerous, but humanity is counting on you." As the meeting dispersed, Elena found herself walking alongside Dr. Wei toward the engineering bay. The scientist moved with the awkward gait of someone more accustomed to laboratory conditions than Mars' 0.38 grams gravity. "You didn't mention your other role in the operation," Wei said quietly. Elena glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. "The strike team mission is classified even from the Blackout captains. Need to know only." Wei frowned. "You've barely recovered from Neptune, Captain. Someone else could lead the infiltration. No one else has direct experience with their technology, Elena countered. And time is our enemy. While the disruptors create confusion, a small team needs to board their new command vessel and extract their navigational data. If we can determine where they came from, we might find a way to end this war before it reaches Earth. We looked unconvinced, but nodded reluctantly. The neural interface is ready. If you can access their systems, it should translate their data architecture into something we can interpret. And if I can't access their systems, the scientist's expression darkened. Then learn what you can and get out. The rest of us will make our stand at Mars. 20 hours later, Elena stood in the launch bay of the UES Spectre, a stealth insertion craft specially modified for the mission. Her strike team consisted of 5 specialists. Lieutenant Sharma, who had insisted on joining from the Pathfinder, Major Leon Vega, Earth's foremost expert in xenobiology, Chief Engineer Isamu Takashi, also from the Pathfinder, and 2 Special Forces operatives, Sergeants Daiyu Chen and Marcus Williams. Final equipment check, Elena ordered, securing her combat exosuit. The lightweight armor incorporated the latest adaptive camouflage technology and enhanced life support systems designed to function in unknown atmospheric conditions. Neural interface online, reported Takashi, tapping the small device at the base of his skull. If their technology uses any kind of electromagnetic or quantum communication, we should be able to access it. Biocontainment measures active, Vega confirmed, checking his specialized equipment. If we encounter any biological hazards, we'll detect them. The strike team's mission would coincide with Operation Blackout. While the 12 ships deployed their disruptor pods to throw the alien fleet into disarray, the Spectre would slip through the chaos and dock with what sensors had identified as the new alien command vessel. The team would infiltrate, locate the ship's data core, extract navigational information, and escape before the aliens could respond effectively. T-minus 30 minutes to deployment, announced the Spectre's pilot through the intercom. Admiral Zhao is on the command channel. Elena activated her comm unit. Captain Rai is here. Admiral. Captain. Zhao's voice came through clearly. The blackout ships are in position. Alien fleet is proceeding as predicted. Launch window opens in 28 minutes. Understood. Admiral. Strike team is prepared. Any last-minute intelligence? There was a brief pause. Our deep space arrays have detected more anomalies beyond Pluto. Similar signatures to the First Fleet. Elena felt her blood run cold. Reinforcements. That's our assessment. ETA approximately 5 days. This may be our only chance, Captain. Whatever you find in there could be the difference between survival and extinction. No pressure, muttered Sergeant Williams, though his dark humor didn't mask the tension in his voice. We'll get it done, Admiral, Elena promised. Rai is out. As the countdown progressed, Elena reviewed the mission parameters one final time. The Spectre would launch during the initial confusion of the disruptor activation. Using the debris of the asteroid belt as cover, they would approach the alien command vessel from its ventral aspect, where sensors had detected what appeared to be maintenance access points. Once aboard, they would have approximately 40 minutes to complete their mission before the disruptor's power cells depleted. T-minus 5 minutes, the pilot announced. Operation Blackout is commencing. On the tactical display, Elena watched as the 12 Earth ships moved into position around the alien fleet, each deploying its disruptor pod before accelerating away. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, as one, the pods activated. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The alien vessels, previously moving in perfect formation, began to drift erratically. Several smaller ships collided, their coordination completely disrupted. The command vessel at the center of the formation slowed, its weapon systems firing randomly into space. That's our cue, Elena said. Launch now. The Spectre detached from its docking clamp and accelerated silently toward the chaotic battlefield. Its stealth systems, combined with the general confusion, allowed it to slip through the disorganized alien defenses undetected. "Approaching target," the pilot reported. "I can get you within 50 meters of what looks like an access point, but you'll need to spacewalk the rest of the way. I can't risk closer approach without detection." "Understood," Elena replied. "Prepare the team for EVA." Minutes later, the strike team floated in the void, magnetic tethers connecting them as they maneuvered toward the massive alien vessel. Up close, its hull was even more alien, a material that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, yet remained solid. Faint patterns of light pulsed beneath the surface, reminiscent of neural pathways. "There," Sharma pointed to a seam in the otherwise smooth hull. "That matches the access point signature we detected." Takashi moved forward, attaching a specialized device to the hull. This should create a localized field that mimics their own access protocols. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then the seam widened, revealing a circular aperture large enough for one person at a time. "I'll go first," Elena said. "Sharma, you're second. Williams, take R6. Remember, we have 35 minutes before the disruptors fail." One by one, they entered the alien vessel. Inside, the environment was disorienting. Corridors that curved in impossible geometries, lighting that seemed to come from the walls themselves, and an atmosphere that, while breathable according to their sensors, carried an acrid metallic tang. "Life signs?" Elena asked, her weapon raised. Vega consulted his scanner. "Multiple, but scattered. The ship is approximately 30% occupied. Most seem to be congregating in what might be their equivalent of a bridge, 3 levels above us. And the data core." Takashi's neural interface flickered as it attempted to interpret the alien systems. "I'm detecting a massive concentration of quantum activity 2 levels down. That's our best bet." They moved through the ship cautiously, encountering no resistance. Whether this was luck or a result of the disruptor's effect on the alien crew was unclear. The architecture became increasingly bizarre as they descended. Spaces that seemed to fold in on themselves, gravity that shifted orientation without warning. "This tech is decades beyond ours," Sharma whispered. "Maybe centuries. Yet we still hurt them," Elena reminded her. "Remember Neptune." They finally reached what appeared to be the data core, the vast chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with internal light. At the center stood a column of swirling energy, contained within a field of force that distorted the very space around it. "That's it," Takashi said, his eyes wide with wonder and professional assessment. "A quantum computing matrix of incredible complexity. The neural interface should work if I can establish a connection point." While Takashi and Sharma worked to access the alien database, Elena and the others secured the chamber. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. "I've got something," Takashi announced finally. "Downloading now." "It's... my God." "What is it?" Elena demanded. Before he could answer, an alarm sounded throughout the ship, a pulsing, discordant tone that seemed to resonate within their bones. "They've detected us," Williams warned. "We need to move." "Not yet," Takashi insisted, his fingers flying over his equipment. "Just a few more seconds. There, download complete." "What did you find?" Elena asked as they prepared to retreat. Takashi's expression was a mixture of awe and horror. "They're refugees, Captain. Their home system was destroyed by some kind of cosmic catastrophe. They've been traveling for centuries, looking for a habitable world." "Then why attack us?" Vega demanded. "Why not attempt peaceful contact?" "Because they encountered humans before," Takashi replied grimly. "A deep space expedition from Earth, decades ago. Something went wrong. A misunderstanding, a mistake, and they lost thousands of their people. They've regarded humanity as hostile ever since." The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. This wasn't an invasion. It was a preemptive strike by a desperate species. "We need to get this information back to Earth," she decided. "Move out." Their retreat was significantly more challenging than their approach. Alien crew members, humanoid but with elongated limbs and features that shifted subtly, as if their very biology was in flux, attempted to intercept them. The strike team was forced to use non-lethal stun weapons, avoiding casualties when possible. 10 minutes until the disruptors fail, Sharma warned, as they fought their way back to the access point. They reached the exit just as the ship's internal systems began to recover from the disruption effect. The hull sealed behind them as they launched themselves back into space, racing toward the waiting Spectre. All aboard, Alina reported as the airlock sealed. "Pilot, get us out of here." The Spectre accelerated away from the alien vessel, using the still confused fleet as cover. Behind them, the effects of the disruptor pods were beginning to fade. The alien ships were regaining coordination, weapons coming back online. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Zhao," the pilot announced. Text only. "Blackout successful. Mars Defense Fleet engaging. Return with all speed." As the Spectre raced back toward Mars, Alina reviewed the data they had stolen. The aliens, who called themselves the Varilar in their own language, had indeed encountered humans before. A scientific expedition from Earth had stumbled upon one of their scout ships near the edge of the solar system 15 years earlier. A misunderstanding during first contact had led to weapons fire and casualties on both sides. The Varilar, already traumatized by the loss of their homeworld and desperate to find a new home for their billions of refugees in suspended animation, had interpreted the incident as proof that humans would never allow them to settle in the solar system. Their attack was, in their minds, a necessary preemptive strike to secure their people's future. "This changes everything," Alina murmured. "We need to establish communication with them. Make them understand we didn't know." The battle at Mars was raging by the time the Spectre returned. Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet had engaged the alien vessels, which were still struggling to fully recover from Operation Blackout. The human ships, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, were holding their own through sheer tactical flexibility and individual initiative, qualities the hive-minded aliens struggled to counter. "Admiral Zhao is requesting your immediate presence on the command deck," an aide informed Alina as soon as the strike team had disembarked. Minutes later, she stood before the Admiral, the stolen alien data displayed on the war room's main screen. "Refugees," Zhao said, absorbing the information. "Not conquerors." "Yes, Ma'am. And they believe we fired first in a previous encounter. If we can establish communication, explain it was a misunderstanding, we might end this war before it escalates further." Zhao finished. "Dr. Wei, is it possible?" Wei, who had been analyzing the alien language patterns from the downloaded data, nodded tentatively. "Their communication systems are complex, a blend of electromagnetic signaling and quantum entanglement. But yes, with the data Captain Rice brought back, we could attempt direct contact." "Do it," Zhao ordered, "and prepare a ceasefire proposal."